Yo, what is great, good, and real? It's Sunday morning on the East Coast, which is where I'm at, and I felt compelled to come live to you today. Hold on, my dog's trying to get up, and just talk about the potentiality of your life. And if you're looking to make changes and you're looking to grow and expand and become the best version, which is a very big cliche, something that's used often, I like to think doing you, getting the most out of your life. I stumbled across something doing my research around a very positive, emotional, and motivational quote that, in short, said, you need to kill off who you were before to become ultimately what you want to be. Kill off who you were before, leave that person for dead, let that person go before you become who it is you think you can become. And I think part and parcel to change and the potentiality of whatever the greatest version of you is, which only you know. There is some truth to that, some real deep truth to that, but it's also dangerous. It's also dangerous, and I wanted to share why. I believe deeply in the duality of life, in that if you know you want to change, it's because you're doing some things that no longer align with who you want to be. Fine. The relevancy of that is this: there is no hot without cold, but they're not necessarily opposites. Eventually, the temperature, if they're in the middle, it's warm. It goes this way too much, it's hot. It goes this way too much, it's cold. Hot needs cold, and cold needs hot. You can't have one without the other. They don't exist without the other. The same way emotionally, you can focus on being happy, but how do you really know happiness? Because you know what it's like to be sad. How do you know what it's like to feel resilience? You know what it's like to be in pain. How do you know what it's like to win? You know what it's like to lose. So it's a duality, it's a requirement, it's a necessity to have an encompassing view on all of this is necessary to evolve into whatever. And that's what it is. It's an evolution. It's not anything new. It's a change, but it's an evolution of who you are into what you can possibly become. And so now, to my point that I wanted to make and share and be very, very strong about, if you decide to just kill yourself off, the old you, your ego, your ego will run very, very hot, very, very hot. And that's what makes it difficult to change. Because depending on who you are, where you've been, and how long you've been doing whatever it is, the action it is you want to change, however long you've been thinking about these things, consciously and subconsciously, whatever rhythm and pattern and habit you have in life, you are a routine already. You could, let's take, for example, my drinking. I drank for 20 years. When you decide, I'm not going to drink, do you know what that means? You're going from years of pattern of repetitive behavior of you. This is still you. And now you're saying, I want to change me. Fine. But you can't kill that person. If you kill that person and leave them for dead, you'll never, ever be able to align with the person you're looking to become. In other words, back to the analogies, if you want to run warm, you got to have some hot, you got to have some cold. If you want to understand happy, you got to understand also sad. If you want to become a new version of yourself and change your life, you can't just ditch your old self and leave it out to dry with no help. The ego needs to be talked to. The ego needs to be lectured to and brought along the journey. It needs to be taught the new version of who you want to be and why. You can't just kill yourself off. You'll build up resentment. You'll build up the frustration, the stress, the agony, all the difficulties involved in the potential evolution of you will be blocked and limited by the old version of you trying to resurface, trying to come out. And if you suppress it without serious conscious work, without deliberate intent around the mindset, the manifestation of all these cliches and all these powerful words that mean the evolution of you, if you don't take time to negotiate with your ego, to take who you were with you in the journey, it's still powerful. Everything you weren't worth, you drank too much, you were unfaithful, if you had difficulty in your job, difficulty in your childhood, difficulty relationally across every scope, if you just dismiss that, then you'll forget why you're changing. And then you'll be triggered right back into those typical patterns, routines, and behaviors. And so I'll close and leave you with everything that you seek is certainly inside. And whatever brought you to this position still has value. You just have to be able to take that energy that manifested itself into things you no longer want to align with and reposition it. If you want to go from cold to hot or hot to cold, you got to find the balance. You want to be a little happier, you got to understand why you were sad. And don't ditch it, bring it with you as a reminder. You're in pain, you want to feel all those things that you're thinking about. And it's also all in here. You got to really be conscious and become conscious of what it all means. So don't be too abrupt. Don't be too fast and quick to kill off who you were, because it's a reminder of everything you could be. Manifest your greatness. I am who I say I am. Stay rich.